Rain against the window. A nightstand drawer left half open. Papers and a brass hotel keycard glinting beneath lamplight. I'm Daniel Rhodes, 47, Director of Product Operations at a mid-sized Seattle tech firm. 23 years of systems engineering taught me to notice patterns, details that don't belong. The divorce papers were signed, dated 3 days ago. My name wasn't on the lawyer's letterhead. She'd handled everything herself, clean and efficient. The hotel key sat beside the documents like a business card, brass surface catching the bedroom light. I closed the drawer, smoothed the bedsheet, walked downstairs. The house felt different now. Our Bellevue suburban home, with its clean lines and expensive furniture, suddenly looked like a stage set. Everything in its place, nothing quite real. You know what's funny about betrayal? It doesn't hit you like a punch. It settles in your chest like cold water, methodical and complete. I'd been noticing things for weeks. Late meetings that ran past midnight. Phone calls that ended when I entered the room. That faint scent of unfamiliar cologne on her winter scarf. Something expensive. Something that wasn't mine. The front door opened at 9:47 p.m. "Daniel, I'm home." Her voice carried that careful lightness people use when they're rehearsing difficult conversations. I poured 2 glasses of Jameson, the good bottle we save for celebrations. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, still beautiful at 44. Still the woman I'd married in an October rainstorm 15 years ago. But something had shifted in her posture, a subtle relief, like she'd already crossed a bridge I couldn't see. "We need to talk," she said. I handed her the whiskey. "Do we?" She took the glass, met my eyes directly. No tears, no apologies, just quiet certainty. "You deserve someone better, Daniel. Someone who can give you what you need." The line felt rehearsed, polished, like she'd practiced it in hotel mirrors. I raised my glass. "To your freedom." She blinked once, fast. Maybe she'd expected anger, accusations, the messy drama of a marriage unraveling. Instead, she got physics. Action and equal reaction, clean and predictable. We drank in silence. What was she thinking in that moment? That I hadn't found the papers yet? That I'd stumble across them tomorrow, devastated and unprepared? I watched her hands, steady, no wedding ring. When had she stopped wearing it? The details filed themselves away in my mind like evidence in a case I was building against myself. The hotel key was for the Fairmont Olympic, room 847. The date on the divorce papers was January 15th. Her relief felt genuine, practiced, like she'd been carrying this weight for months. "I'll sleep in the guest room tonight," she said. "Sure." She finished her drink, rinsed the glass, set it in the dishwasher. Even now she maintained our routines. Funny how people cling to small domestic rituals when they're burning down their lives. I sat at the kitchen table after she went upstairs. The rain kept falling against the windows, steady and patient. The house settled around me, all its familiar sounds suddenly foreign. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I watched the light fade from her side of the bed through the crack under our bedroom door. She'd made her choice weeks ago, maybe months. The future, I'd imagined, was already gone. Time to write a new one. Uneaten breakfast, her plate untouched, phone face down. Silence carries more weight than words. She'd been up since 5 a.m., showered and dressed before I came downstairs. The coffee was cold, her eggs congealed on blue ceramic we'd picked out together at Pike Place Market. "Running late," she said, not looking up from her laptop. I buttered my toast and watched. She was logged into our joint banking account, something she'd never bothered with before. Her fingers moved across the keyboard with unusual precision, transferring funds between accounts I barely recognized. How long had she been planning this exit strategy? "Big project at work?" I asked. "Pre-IPO preparations. Lots of moving pieces." She worked in HR at my company, Knew everyone's salary, their stock options, their personal weaknesses. I'd always thought it made us a good team, operations and human resources, systems and people. Guess I'd been half right. 3 days passed like this. Polite distance, careful choreography around each other in our own house. She left early, came home late, always with her phone either silenced or face down. Thursday evening, I called Marcus Chin. We'd been roommates at University of Washington, back when the world felt simpler. Now, he worked compliance at Nexus Dynamics, one of our biggest competitors. Danny boy, his voice carried that easy California warmth he'd never lost despite 20 years in Seattle. Been too long, man. Need to run something by you. Hypothetically. Hypothetically? I'm listening. I kept it vague. Patterns in employee movement. Unusual activity around NDAs, IP transfer protocols. Marcus had always been sharp with details. The kind of guy who spotted inconsistencies others missed. Sounds like industrial espionage, he said after I finished. Someone setting up a jump ship scenario. You seeing this at your firm? Maybe. Here's the thing about corporate theft. It's never just the obvious stuff. They don't just steal code. They steal timing, market strategies, client lists, the whole ecosystem. He paused. I could hear him thinking. We've been getting weird approaches lately. Your lead engineer, what's his name? Tom Harrison? His resume landed on our desk 3 weeks ago, unsolicited. Clean background, solid references, but something felt off about the timing. Tom Harrison, our head of product development, 41, divorced, drove a Tesla he couldn't afford on his salary. The pieces clicked together like system components finding their proper configuration. Marcus, I need you to dig deeper on Harrison. Quietly, consider it done. Friday morning brought revelation. Marcus called at 6:47 a.m., voice tight with the kind of controlled excitement that meant trouble. Your boy Harrison's been busy, dating someone internal, using company resources for personal meetings. But here's the kicker. They've been meeting at the Fairmont Olympic. Regular Tuesday afternoons, always the same room. Room 847. The brass key in her nightstand drawer. Gets worse, Marcus continued. Harrison's been copying proprietary code onto external drives. Our intelligence suggests he's planning to jump ship with your entire client database and 3 years of R&D data. My coffee went cold in my hands. This wasn't just about our marriage anymore. How long has this been going on? Best guess? 4 months, maybe longer. I set down the phone and stared at the kitchen wall. She wasn't just leaving me. She was burning down everything we'd built together. Our company was 6 months from going public. Those stock options represented my retirement, our employees' futures, years of careful planning. What kind of person destroys an entire ecosystem just to cover her escape route? I opened my laptop and began documenting everything. Screenshots of her financial transfers, time-stamped entries in our system logs, email patterns that suddenly made sense. 23 years of systems engineering had taught me that data never lies. It just waits for someone smart enough to read the story. She'd been careful, but not careful enough. The system remembers what people try to erase. By Sunday evening, I had enough evidence to end her career and Harrison's. Instead, I did something else. I walked to our living room mantel and picked up our wedding photo, the one from that rainy October ceremony, both of us young and certain about forever. We looked happy. Maybe we had been. I carried the photo to my desk drawer and placed it face down beside my evidence files. The world was about to change. Quietly, methodically, the way systems change when someone finally fixes a critical error. She hummed in the kitchen, making dinner like nothing had shifted. But everything had shifted. She just didn't know it yet. Her side of the closet is emptier. She hums, thinking she's untouchable. He listens, plotting the sequence. Monday morning, 6:15 a.m., she'd packed another suitcase, The expensive leather one her mother gave us for our 10th anniversary. 3 dresses missing. Her good jewelry box lighter than before. She moved through our bedroom like she was already gone, humming some song I didn't recognize while she applied lipstick in the mirror. "Working late again tonight," she said without turning around. Of course. She thought she was invisible, thought her careful planning had covered every angle. 23 years in systems had taught me something different. Every action leaves a digital footprint, and confident people make the sloppiest mistakes. I knew our company's audit schedule better than anyone. Internal reviews happened every 90 days before major legal filings. IPO paperwork triggered automatic security sweeps. The beauty of corporate bureaucracy is its predictability. At 9:30 a.m., I made the first call. TechSec Solutions, this is Janet. I need to report unusual network activity, anonymous tip. Go ahead, sir. Someone's been accessing confidential files after hours, copying data to external drives. You'll want to check login patterns from the past 4 months, specifically Tuesday afternoons and weekend access. I gave them no names, just breadcrumbs pointing toward the truth. The second call went to our legal department. Sarah Morrison, senior counsel, had handled our IPO prep for 18 months. Sharp woman, zero tolerance for anything that threatened the timeline. Sarah, this is Daniel Rhodes from Product Operations. I've noticed some anomalies in our HR data transfers. Might be worth reviewing before we file final paperwork. What kind of anomalies? Stock option beneficiary changes that don't match employee records? Financial transfers that look coordinated? I'll have someone look into it. Probably nothing, but you know how these last-minute issues can derail everything. Sarah understood. IPO delays cost everyone money. The third step required something more direct. I printed the divorce papers, the ones she'd hidden so carefully in our nightstand. Added the brass hotel key still warm from her recent use. Sealed everything in a manila envelope with one line written in black ink. Before you sign, read everything. Robert Chen, our CEO, got his mail at 7 a.m. sharp every morning, old habits from his military days. The envelope would be on his desk before anyone else arrived. You know what's beautiful about systems thinking? Every action creates predictable reactions. Push the right buttons in the right sequence, and people solve problems exactly the way you need them to. By Wednesday, the company felt different. Harrison looked pale during the morning stand-up, kept checking his phone, shoulders tight with barely controlled tension. Our HR assistant mentioned unscheduled meetings and security consultations happening behind closed doors. She came home that evening silent for the first time in weeks. No humming, no casual chatter about her day. She moved through the kitchen like she was walking through fog. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Fine, just tired." But her hand shook when she poured wine. Small tremor, barely visible, the kind of detail most people miss. Thursday brought Marcus's final gift. Nexus pulled Harrison's application, he said during our lunch call. Word came down from executive leadership, possible security risk, potential industrial espionage background. They're not touching him with a 10-foot pole. Interesting timing. Funny how information travels in this industry. Harrison's name is already circulating through compliance networks. Good luck finding anyone willing to hire him now. I watched her that evening from the kitchen doorway. She sat at her laptop, typing and deleting, typing and deleting. Her confident posture from last week had crumbled into something desperate and searching. Her phone buzzed, Harrison's name on the screen. She declined the call. It buzzed again. She powered it off completely. What was going through her mind? That her perfectly orchestrated escape plan was collapsing in real time. That the future she'd built with stolen data and careful deception was evaporating like morning fog. I'd never set foot in the boardroom, never raised my voice, never confronted anyone directly. I just let the system correct itself. Friday afternoon, she sat at our kitchen table staring at nothing, her laptop closed, her phone silent, her eyes scanning the air like she was looking for answers in empty space. "Any plans for the weekend?" I asked, setting down my coffee mug. She looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "Plans?" "You know, the usual weekend stuff." Her new life was already gone. She just hadn't admitted it yet. Boardworm. Her badge doesn't unlock the door. Phones vibrate. The world turns cold. I wasn't there to see it happen. Didn't need to be. Marcus called at 10:47. I am with the play-by-play. His voice carried that satisfied tone of someone watching justice unfold in real time. "Your wife tried to swipe into the executive conference room this morning. Red light. Badge deactivated. Security escorted her to HR. Ironic, right? Then they escorted her out of the building." The internal investigation had moved faster than anyone expected. Robert Chen didn't mess around when company secrets were at stake. 48 hours after my envelope landed on his desk, the entire situation was locked down tight. What about Harrison? Suspended pending investigation. They found everything. Copied files, external drives, email trails. Amateur hour stuff, really. Overconfidence makes people sloppy. She'd thought she was smarter than this system. Turns out the system was smarter than both of them. By noon, the emergency meeting was over. Official company statement. 2 employees placed on administrative leave pending investigation into potential intellectual property theft. Legal review ongoing. Sarah Morrison had moved fast. Corporate lawyers don't waste time when millions in IPO money hang in the balance. The Seattle Business Journal picked up the story by 2 p.m. No names yet, but enough details to matter. IPO tech firm investigates internal data breach. Industry insiders would fill in the blanks within hours. I kept working like nothing had changed, attended my afternoon stand-up meeting, reviewed code deployments, answered emails about quarterly planning. Normal Tuesday operations for everyone except 2 people who just discovered their futures had evaporated. Her first call came at 3:15 p.m. I let it ring. Second call at 3:22 p.m. Third at 3:31 p.m. On the 4th try, I answered. "Daniel." Her voice sounded smaller than I'd heard in months. "I need to talk to you." "About what?" "This is all a misunderstanding. Someone's setting me up. I need your help to—" "I'm sure you'll figure it out." I hung up. No warmth, no anger, just closure. The files had told their own story. 4 months of Tuesday afternoon hotel meetings, financial transfers timed to her access schedules, Harrison's code downloads mapped precisely to her HR database logins. The evidence painted itself. You know what's funny about corporate investigations? They don't care about marriage drama or personal betrayals. They only care about protecting assets and limiting liability. Sarah Morrison's team had built an airtight case without ever knowing about divorce papers or nightstand drawers. Thursday brought the industry press coverage. TechCrunch ran a follow-up story. Seattle's startup faces IP theft allegations before public offering. This time they had names. By Friday morning, her LinkedIn profile had gone dark. The networking calls from headhunters, once a weekly occurrence, had stopped completely. Friends from our social circle suddenly found reasons to cancel dinner plans. Reputation is everything in Seattle's tight tech ecosystem. Once the compliance network starts circulating your name, finding new employment becomes challenging. Robert Chen's assistant called that afternoon. Rhodes, the CEO would like to meet with you privately. Are you available Monday at 4 p.m.? What's this regarding? He'd prefer to discuss it in person. Monday's meeting lasted 12 minutes. Your documentation was invaluable, Robert said, sliding a confidential commendation letter across his desk. We're recommending you for employee recognition at the company-wide meeting. I slid the letter back. I'd prefer my name stay out of any headlines. You sure? This kind of integrity deserves recognition. I'm sure. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. Fair enough. Off the record, you saved this company millions in potential damages. The board won't forget that. I drove home through late afternoon rain. Seattle in January. Gray skies, clean air, the kind of weather that washes everything clean. Her car was in the driveway when I arrived, engine running, trunk open. She was loading suitcases, not the careful packing of a planned departure, desperate shoveling of clothes and personal items into mismatched bags. I parked and walked past her without speaking. "Daniel, wait." I stopped at the front door but didn't turn around. This wasn't supposed to happen this way. I know. You could have warned me, could have said something. Now unlock the door. Maybe. She finished packing in silence. I watched from the kitchen window as she loaded the last bag, closed the trunk, stood for a moment looking at our house like she was memorizing it. The rain intensified as she backed out of the driveway. I watched her taillights disappear around the corner, red dots fading into the gray distance. The tire tracks were gone within an hour, washed clean by the steady Seattle rain. Night. Silence. House half empty. Daniel sits at his desk, pen in hand. The envelope was still there in my drawer, beneath the family photo I'd moved weeks ago. Her handwriting on cream-colored stationery, that careful script she'd perfected in business school. Her exit plan, investment accounts, legal contacts, the apartment she'd already secured downtown. Everything mapped out with the same precision she'd used to steal company secrets. All of it meaningless now. I carried the papers to the fireplace, struck a match, and watched the corner catch flame. The document curled inward on itself, her careful planning dissolving into ash and ember. 20 years of marriage reduced to carbon and smoke. The divorce papers followed. Those official documents that once felt like a death sentence now looked like what they really were. Paperwork, legal formalities for a relationship that had ended long before I found them. Each page burned differently. Some resisted the flame, others surrendered immediately. But they all became the same thing in the end. Nothing. I poured myself 2 fingers of Jameson, the good bottle, the one we'd opened to toast her freedom just weeks ago. Seemed fitting to finish it alone. The window overlooked our backyard, 40 feet of carefully maintained Seattle suburbia. We'd planted the oak tree together our 3rd year in the house. 15 years later, it towered over the fence line, roots deep enough to survive anything. Some things endure, others don't. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to her contact. Sarah Catherine Rhodes. Her smile in the profile picture, taken at last year's company Christmas party, before the hotel keys and secret meetings, before she'd decided our future wasn't worth preserving. Delete contact. Confirm deletion. Done. No anger, no regret. Just the quiet satisfaction of erasing a problem that had solved itself. The drawer opened with its familiar squeak. I'd been meaning to fix that for months. The wedding photo lay face down where I'd placed it, our younger selves trapped behind glass and good intentions. I picked it up, studied our faces one last time. We looked happy. Maybe we had been, in that October rain 20 years ago, but happiness isn't a contract. It's not guaranteed to last, especially when one person decides to trade it for something they think is better. I placed the photo face down again, closed the drawer, and turned off the desk lamp. In the darkness, only the sound of rain remained, the same Seattle rain that had watched our wedding, witnessed our success, and now washed away the last traces of what we used to be. No words needed, no final thoughts or dramatic revelations. Just the clean hush of freedom reclaimed, and a man returned to himself, changed, quieter, and completely alone by choice. The rain kept falling. It always did in Seattle. Some things you can count on.